Hi, we're the Carols. I'm Cornelius,
I'm Yolanda.
and we're glad to be able to spend a little time with you. You guys have questions, we have a few answers, and we're looking forward to sharing a few thoughts with you.
Marriage, marriage, marriage. Cornelius and I are high school sweethearts, best friends, boyfriends, and we've been married almost 44 years. And we get questions all the time.
Right.
And so I'm going to answer two of them for you, my version and his version. Matters of the heart, whatever. I was trying to think of a really cute, catchy name to call this. Couldn't think of one, so you can name it. But question. When you're having conflict or when you're having a little warm fellowship, how do you feel about walking that whole conversation out? How do you feel about taking pause and working through it a different way or coming back to it? Me personally, I like to work it out. I want to know, why this happened. I want to let you know why I'm upset. I want to I want you to figure out why you did it that way and all of those things. And to be real honest, that doesn't work for us. It doesn't work for us because my husband is a much more passive person, a much more thoughtful person. So with me on 10 and trying to get the information and get it now and get the results and why and when will it happen again, that doesn't work for us. And so I would encourage you to kind of look at and think about, how's this working for me, as Dr. Phil says? So with warm fellowship or conflict resolution, and again, we've been doing this over 40 years, and even prior to that, when we dated, another five years, that you have to decide what's working. I've found that that's just how I am does not work. And so as you walk through marriage or as you walk through relationship, you want to look at how's this working. So when we have warm fellowship, or as I call it, or when we have conflict, or when we don't get along, for lack of a better word, we have to figure out what's going to work. How can we meet each other somewhere in the middle where I can have my views shared and I can be heard, as well as your partner, your boyfriend, your husband have their voice heard, and and we be able to kind of process that thing. Because again, when he wins, I win. When he loses, I lose. What are your thoughts?
So for me, a couple of things come to mind. One is, I think that you ended with, is that we want to both win. We want to both be on the same accord. We want to get the information. And so in conflict resolution, I think for me, it's okay to call a timeout from time to time, because I've learned that I'm not as good in the moment.
Quick.
Yeah. So I sometimes have to stop, think about what's being said, think about what the issues are, think about what I certainly want to do is never say something that I'm gonna have to take back. And there are times that if I'm just speaking right off my emotions, then I may have to stop and say, oh, I didn't mean that, or I didn't, wish it didn't come out that way. So I think it's okay to call a small timeout, but we do want to always come back to it so that we can get the resolution that we need. And there's one example that I like to use, and that is, my wife likes, sometimes I fix my wife oatmeal for breakfast. And when I put the oatmeal in the microwave, if I leave it in there too long, then it starts to boil over. Why? Because it's building more and more heat. And so this is very practical, that when you push that stop button, even it's about to boil over, it immediately comes back down.
Right.
And so I think we need to learn how to figure out what works for us to push the stop button so that the heat can come down and we don't have a mess in the microwave or a mess in our situation. So, I just think it's kind of cool, and I think it helps us to be able to stay focused on the situation, not just the emotions. So I think a timeout usually helps. Okay. And then we come back to it, think about and stay focused on the main thing. And let me just add this last piece. Almost never is each other the enemy. Right. It's always, or the issue. Right. It's always something else. And sometimes we got to take that moment to find out, wait a minute, what's the real issue here?
Right.
So I add that to it.
Right. So for that question, that particular question, you have to figure out what works, but don't keep doing the same thing expecting different results. Right. So it really is okay to meet in the middle. It really is okay to take a time out and say, okay, let's take some of the steam out of it and let's visit this again. Or the person who is the more hyper person, okay, just think about it. Okay, is it working? And if it's not working, then nobody wins. So hopefully that was helpful, and we're going to come back and give you a little bit more information, tell you another question that we've been asked. So we're the Carols, and thanks for watching.